The new NBA and MLB season is in full swing, and BetOnline has you covered with the best odds and biggest promotions and live in-game betting on all your favorite teams. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Are you feeling stuck in your career or lacking employment at the moment? Experiencing symptoms of job dissatisfaction? You might be suffering from a common condition known as career stagnation. But don't worry, there's a solution. Monster.com. Monster.com offers a comprehensive suite of career-boosting tools designed just for you. Our free resume review and AI interview prep tool will help you stand out from the crowd. Need more guidance? Dive into our career advice articles for expert tips and insights. And don't forget to check out our salary tools to ensure you're getting paid what you're worth. Side effects may include a new job, increased confidence, and a brighter future. Consult Monster.com today and take the first step towards your new career. Ready for your next job opportunity? Visit Monster.com now.
I have a puzzle for you. What is something that you should be able to do in 25 minutes that most of us will never be able to do? But Justin Bieber can do it in 2 minutes. It only costs $9 at Target, but has held the Guinness record for most expensive toy. And it's relaxing for some and a maddening headache for others. It's a riddle that has unfolded over the last 50 years, with a story that starts in a cluttered bedroom in Budapest, Hungary, but quickly takes us around the globe, penetrating virtually every aspect of life. You'll not only find it in films, television, books, and artwork, there are statues dedicated to it, architecture inspired by it, and thousands of competitive events featuring it. And after selling 500 million units, it's been estimated that 1 in every 7 people on the planet has attempted to solve it. But with over 43 quintillion permutations and only 1 correct solution, it's not surprising so many fail. And that's why this week's On Brand is on Rubik's Cube.
You're all jazzed up, nearly having a cow. You want your favorite show, and it's on right now. It's on brand.
Welcome to On Brand with Jon and Marisa. I forgot how to do it. It's been so long. It's been 3 weeks since we've recorded.
Well, you stopped talking after that part, so I can say, hi, I'm Jon.
Hi, I'm Marisa.
We are back. I know you guys are like, what are they talking about? To you, we've only been gone a week. I realized I listened to the beginning of LL Cool Beans, and the last time we recorded was exactly 1 month ago today. It was October 10th. So we have been out of the studio for a month. We're a little rusty.
We're shaking off the dust. We're shaking off the webs.
I'm getting over a cold, so I may sound a little, people may be like, oh, Jon he's a little congested. He sounds a little congested. I am.
You know, revisit the Kleenex episode if you're irritated by Jon sniffling.
Absolutely. So we have been, listen, I don't even know. Oh, that reminds me, I wanted to put this on So, we haven't talked about so many things in a while. I don't know, what things you want to know, has been going on. Do you want to hear about my time at Day of Days? Do you want to hear about the release of the new Cure album? Do you want to talk about me going to a taping of the Jennifer Hudson show? There's, so many things that have happened that we haven't talked about.
Oh, my God. You also just placed on, this is an audio medium, Jon just put on, a rhinestone bolo tie.
Oh, my bling string? Are you talking about my bling string that I bought at the Jennifer Hudson show? So is that what you want to talk about?
This dialogue, this back and forth is actually a really good teaser for our Patreon that will be starting in January. We are going to start recording a Patreon. So while I'm saying that, I want to invite all the freaks to join us for an Instagram Live on Sunday, November 17th at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And, we just kind of want to survey the freaks as to what you want from the Patreon because, these few dollars, we don't want you to knock your money's worth. So we want to get some input from you guys. And, a little time to chat and check in with you guys before we record will always be fun. So join us November 17th at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Instagram Live. And we'll have a little summit about the Patreon.
I love that. I feel like we're so old. We're like, I've never done an Instagram Live, but listen, if someone's going to be spending $100 a month to get our bonus content, I really want them to get the most out of it.
$100 a month. The price is firm, and every member will get something from John's storage unit.
I will draw you one of those hand turkeys for the Thanksgiving.
For $100 a month, you get a hand turkey?
You get a different one every month.
Okay.
So at the end of the year, you've got 12 turkeys.
In like March, you're getting like a turkey with a St. Patrick's Day hat.
I love it. Let me write that down.
We're thinking around the $5 range, of course.
A traditional Patreon fee.
Sure.
But yeah, that'll be fun. We'll be able to talk. I don't even, like, do we actually talk? Like, it's like you just talk?
What are you talking about?
The
show? Like this show right now?
Live.
Oh.
No, like the live. So you're just there? Like it's like a Zoom?
Yeah, it's like a Zoom.
Okay. Well, that'll be fun.
Well, give us one story. Day of Days, Jennifer Hudson, spin the wheel. What do you feel like to sharing about?
I mean, it's hard. Let's see. And this is a long show. This is an 8.5 pager. I've already been yelled at. I did not expect Rubik's Cube to be such a story, but here we are. Day of Days. I went to my annual, if you're new, I go to an annual Days of Our Lives convention. I've watched the show my whole life, and they do a convention every fall. So
before we started our podcast, I was pushing you to start a podcast called Gays of Our Lives.
Right.
And it's you recapping Days of Our Lives.
Because I'm gay.
This might be a segment in the Patreon.
I mean, we want you to get your $100 worth, by all means. I got to tell you what's going on with Marlena. It was different than every year. Usually we're outside. They were trying something new. We were inside. I got a good amount of autographs, but I'm still a couple shy from what I would consider my complete collection. But it was a little bit of a sad year. We had a couple of big deaths on the show in real life this year, so there was tributes to them. But it was,
Buried alive. That's always happening on Days of Our Lives. Did any of the cast actually die from being buried alive?
That would be amazing. No, I mean, they don't do that all the time. I think they've only had three storylines where people were buried alive.
Okay, that's more than like Seinfeld.
It's great when they do it. And Jennifer Hudson, my friend Stephanie, was like, hey, Jennifer is promoting her Christmas album. You love Christmas music.
Oh.
And it's kind of been on my bucket list. Her and Adele were kind of bucket list people I wanted to hear sing.
Yes.
So I did. I went to a taping of the Jennifer Hudson show. It was being, I don't know, not sponsored. Stephanie will probably get mad at me because I don't know the right words, but Starbucks was there. So it was like, you had to dress like it was Christmas. And this was like right after we went on our hiatus. So this happened like a month ago. And I'm like, I'm not going to tell her till we're on pod.
Wow.
So now I feel like I had forgotten some of the details. The biggest one being like in her little gift shop, she sells these bling strings.
Wait, sold? You bought that?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was like under everyone's chair.
No, but we did. We got a $50 Starbucks gift card.
That's pretty good.
She gave us everyone her favorite cozy blanket and a copy of her CD.
Oh, what brand was the blanket? Was it Barefoot Dreams?
Oh, God. Stephanie's going to get mad.
What are you going to do with this bling string? Where does this live in your life?
Here's what I don't love about you. Here's what I don't love about you. Love the laugh, love the look.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Love years of friendship.
Sure.
But this, like your initial, like, because I'll look around this house and I'll see things and I'm
you
like.
You always mention my dying plants. You always mention it.
I mean, I'm going to post a picture of it on Instagram so people can see why. You know what I'm going to do with this?
Yeah.
I'm going to have joy. I've been wearing it on my belt loop. I've gotten compliments on it. I wore it today downtown as like a little bolo tie. And when it catches.
The way you shimmied when you said bolo tie. You were downtown today feeding the homeless of Skid Row, and you were wearing a rhinestone bolo tie.
The woman that runs it was like, that is an interesting choice for Skid Row. I was like, girl, I just needed a little sparkle in my day. When this thing catches the sun, forget about it. I feel like Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
And now I get why Lady Gaga does it.
I mean, not exactly like Michael Jackson. I never told you about when I fell in Target.
I have that in my notes. Ask Marisa about falling in Target.
A couple weeks ago, I said, I got to tell John about how I fell in Target, but I can't tell him off pod. And so I'm like chomping at the bit to tell you this story.
And you know what? I won't even judge you. So let's hear it. What happened?
Well, you shouldn't judge a woman for falling in Target.
Well, how did you fall? We'll see.
So I was shopping for a camping trip, which is like its own version of hell. I swear to do anything fun, you're like about to damn near kill yourself. Like the amount of preparation and stress and lists and shopping, it just was so much. So I was getting ready for this Cub Scouts camping trip. I'm in Target. I'm all flustered. I'm walking and pushing my cart, pushing downstairs in like the food section. We have a 2-story Target here that we go to in Eagle Rock. Pushing my cart, Walking. Fall number 1. My feet just drop out from under me. Fall number 1. I look at the
Fall
ground.
number 1?
Fall number 1. I look down. I see a puddle. I'm like, what is that puddle? And then I think like, oh, someone spilled something. So I'm like, I'm going to move my car out of the way. I'm just going to start walking in another path. I thought maybe something was dripping.
You peed?
I moved my cart to the left. I take like a little path through the shop. Walking. Fall number 2.
You've fallen twice in Target?
I've fallen twice in a matter of 15 seconds.
I've never fallen once in a Target.
I'm looking down. I'm like, where is this water coming from? I'm like, this is crazy. And then I push. I'm like, I got to get out of this area. So I take a hard left. Now I'm in pastas. Walking. Fall number 3, and this is a big one. This is where I hit the deck.
I don't understand what's happening here. How are you on fall number 3 and I don't even know how fall number 1 and 2
I'm wearing
really
my Crocs and I'm looking down and I'm seeing up. No, that's not part of it. But I do think they don't have the best traction. I'm looking down and I'm seeing a giant sudsy puddle under my feet everywhere I go. I'm being chased by a giant sudsy puddle. And I'm like, what are the odds that somebody spilled a sudsy puddle all over the store and I happen to be walking through it? I look in my cart. I have a container of hand soap that the lid is apparently not 100% on. It's the foaming hand soap, so it's already pre-mixed with water. I was dribbling a foamy puddle in front of my every step.
You were creating your own demise.
I was the master of my own demise, which is the case for so many of us, self-sabotage. And I hit the deck, and a woman was giving out samples, which is rare for Target, but I had a witness.
That is rare. What were they giving out?
God, it was in the snack section. I don't even know. I was so humiliated.
Can I tell you? And then I want to hear the end of your story. I was in the Sunset Target like a month ago, and someone was giving out samples. The samples? Candy corn. Who hasn't had candy corn? She had a tray.
They were candy corn.
They were?
Candy corn. Yes. No, I remember they were candy corn.
What is up with Target trying to get everyone on candy corn?
It's like the one food that we all know what it tastes like.
And 95% of the population hates it.
And it's all made by Brock's. It's like what
Brock's.
Brock's is demo budget is now suddenly through the roof.
I think it's because that's the one thing they have so much of after the holiday. They just have
They're just trying to move it.
Aisle of candy corn. All right, so finish your.
Well, the point is that I fell down and she said, "Are you okay? Do you need anything?" And I very quickly composed myself and I said, "Somebody spilled a lot of soap right here. I blame someone else." Yeah, I was just too embarrassed. And then I went back and I swapped it out with a freshie.
You know what would have made that story better and
What?
would be a great scene in a movie?
What?
If she had been so bored giving out candy corn that she had started putting them in her mouth like teeth. So when you fell and she talked to you, she had to look down and she had a mouthful of candy corn teeth.
I tell you what, if it was a Hallmark Christmas movie, it would have been a hunk. And that would have been a really cute way for us to meet.
That is a good Hallmark.
Giving out candy corn samples to a falling woman, that's 90% of Christmas movies.
It's so funny you say that because when I was leaving my house today, I was watching a Hallmark Christmas movie.
You were?
And I was like, should I tell her I'm already in? I am transitioning into Hallmark Christmas movies.
Yeah, I'm ready. Take me there.
I usually have them on the background for the 2 months leading up to Christmas. No lie. It's
time.
Just always on.
Lacey Chabert, take me home.
Terry Hatcher's been
Friend of the pod.
doing Christmas movies too. It's amazing.
Fantastic.
All right, so Rubik's Cube. Do you have any thoughts on it before I give you my thoughts? Why did I do it? Because I just wanted to do a toy.
Rubik's Cube is such an iconic toy.
Yeah.
And it's one of those where it's number one, I'm so dying to know if Rubik was hot.
You know what? I feel like, to me, he was. This is what I kind of hinted at the other day.
Yes.
He's not French, but he kind of looks like a sweaty Frenchman who's probably a little crazy.
Rubik, but not French.
Rubik. It's probably...
Would you like to twist my cube?
I have something else.
Transylvania. This is very...
Oh my God, Transylvania comes up in this show.
Okay, we're back, baby. It's like a month has never passed.
Oh my God. That's so insane.
That's fun.
He's he's that kind of hot and quirky, I think. When you're first dating, you're like, oh my God, that quirk is so cute. But 3 years in, and he's like, God, if he does that quirk again, I'm going to kill him. Quit playing with that damn cube.
I told you about that guy that I hooked up with who I had a crush on him in high school and then I got to hook up with him as an adult. And then the next morning I see his fedora on a coffee table and I'm like, oh God. I imagine Rubik wore a fedora.
Is there anything worse than the morning sun after a hookup?
Gleaming on a felt fedora.
just gleaming on anything. Like they've got their back to you and you're like, wow, I did not notice that patch of hair. And then like I'm just like staring at it. I got to slither out of here.
That's good Patreon content.
So I always really enjoyed Rubik's Cubes and that whole line of puzzles. I had like, I don't know if you remember the snake. It was like a long puzzle that they made. The pyramid. It looked like a Rubik's Cube, but it was a pyramid shape.
Yes, these all sound familiar.
Missing Link was a fun one that looked like 3 chain links.
I didn't know it was like a family of games.
Oh, yeah. Rubik did a lot in his life. And it's like a whole toy division because there's a million imposter. I mean, if you want to go down a rabbit hole, they call them twisty puzzles, which cracks me up because it sounds so like unofficial. But Google twisty puzzles. I mean, it's endless. It is endless.
If you gave me $1 million to finish a Rubik's Cube, I would not even get within an inch of any direction that was correct.
The next sentence that I have written down in my notes, it's one of the few things I played with zero expectations of solving it.
I can't even get a side.
I'll
be like, oh, I'm getting close. Okay, I got one purple left. And then I like get the purple over there. And I'm like, where'd the other purple go? Now he's over there.
Purple's not one of the colors.
Yellow.
No, by now there are purple ones. There's everything you can imagine. I can get one side. It was only in the last 2 years that I realized whatever color is in the middle, that's the color that side is.
Oh, I definitely did not know that.
It seems so obvious now because the middle
Al laughed, which is really rude.
That's rude.
Wow. Mean.
Comes back from base camp. Bitchy. I'll blame it on the altitude, I guess.
Yeah, he's still recovering to sea level.
But yeah, so like my sister Elizabeth was the type that would like peel off the stickers or like take it apart and put it back together. My brother Rob had something called a Rubik's, it probably was not official, but it was called like the Cube Smasher. It was basically like a mallet that you just like destroyed Rubik's Cubes with.
I like that. I like that meeting to come up with a Rubik's Cube Smasher. I want to be at that conference room table.
Yeah, and we'll get to it. It's hard. It's probably hard now for some people to realize how big of a thing this actually was. And you guys are you guys are puzzle people. You love puzzles. Alistair loves like jigsaw puzzles. You love puzzles. Puzzles have been around forever.
We had a stunning Charles Wysocki on the table not 3 days ago.
I don't even know what that means, but I'm sure all the puzzle people are like, woo, just got collectively excited. But yeah, I'm less into those types of puzzles, and it's weird. I am into Rubik's Cube puzzles, but my brain doesn't really work in that way.
Well, you and me, we're poets, we're jesters, that's not our thing.
It's not our thing, but I think what I get out of it, it's almost like probably what people get out of like those fidget spinners. It's like I like the sound of turning it. I like the feel of turning it. I like the movement of it.
It's a nice clack and a nice grind, sure. But that's I do like the mechanism of twisting it, but it would be absolutely hopeless. I wouldn't ever pick up a Rubik's Cube with the expectation that I could make any progress.
No, it's kind of like another thing from the 80s, Trivial Pursuit. It's like every time I played that, I'm like, someone made a joke once that was like, Trivial Pursuit, like you just sit there and wait your turn to say, I don't know.
Yes.
I have no idea.
You know, it's like when I watch Jeopardy and then I see it's like teen edition, I'm like, I might get one.
Even those I won't get because it'll be like when I wasn't a teen.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Chris Howard, host of Plugged In with Chris Howard. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for all your sports betting action. BetOnline has more ways to stay in on the action with the latest odds, news, scores, even live in-game betting while the games are being played. With a large selection of odds on everything from Major League Baseball, NHL, and UFC, and professional golf, BetOnline remains the number one source for all your sports wagering info. In between games, head over to the BetOnline's casino with all the top Vegas-style games, including poker and live casino. BetOnline, the game starts here.
If you're looking to streamline your audio advertising buys and maximize your revenue, look no further than Triton Digital's programmatic audio advertising exchange, A2X. The private exchange consists of only licensed broadcasters and top-tier internet radio publishers, assuring the quality inventory and brand safety you can trust. Visit www.tritondigital.com to learn more.
All right, so let's talk about Ernö Rubik.
Oh, okay.
You probably know part of the story now, where he got its name. All right, so he's born in 1944. It's about a month after D-Day. See, now when you guys say self-edit, it's probably things like that I can take out.
Yeah, probably.
The month after D-Day.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I find it interesting. He's born in the basement of a Budapest hospital that has become an air raid shelter. Again, not necessary, but what the hell?
We did have a little bit of a heart-to-heart with Jon. That if he makes the episode too long, Al has to cut it out. Sometimes he cuts stuff out that Jon likes. Working on self-editing. The problem for Jon is that everything is interesting.
Everything is interesting.
Yes.
And they've all led to me getting an Emmy, so I'm always torn.
I know. What do we don't want to stand between you and your destiny.
So as a boy, he loved to draw and paint and sculpt. He studied architecture at Budapest University of Technology, and he became really obsessed with like geometric patterns. So now let's jump to the spring of 1974. This year is significant for a couple of reasons. It's the year Leonardo DiCaprio was born. It's
huge.
The year before Kate Winslet was born. So it's an exciting time.
Oh my God. I mean, the magic in the air.
The magic.
Everybody was talking about it.
They could feel it, but they couldn't quite put their finger on it.
People would like mow their lawn and then stop and be like, something's different. And then go back to mowing. And that was happening like all over the globe.
Anytime it gets quiet, people just hear, come back. And they're like, come back? What does that mean?
You'll know.
You'll know.
This is what we mean by self-editing.
No, listen, we may go off topic. All right, so he's 29 years old. He's a design teacher at the School of Commercial Arts in Budapest. He's a serious puzzler. He lives in an apartment with his mom, and he says that his bedroom resembles like a child's pocket.
Oh.
There's crayons, there's string, there's sticks, there's springs, scraps of paper. There's cubes made out of paper and wood strewn about. He loves to make like 3D models, and he becomes really...
Was he a crow? Crows like to gather interesting little bits and bobs for their nest.
I gotta say, I've come across several TikToks of people that have befriended crows, and the crows leave them like shiny buttons and stuff. It is my dream to have a crow friend. They'll like walk down the street and be like, click, click, and like the crows will just start like coming in.
Bling string.
Oh, this was brought to me by a crow. God, someday I will be one of those people with a crow friend.
Like you would part with your bling string for a crow friend.
You know what? You should be happy I didn't get 2, because you can use them for shoelaces too.
I should be happy you didn't get 2 bling strings.
Babe, Al, this isn't even me. Cut all that out. None of that's important. So he becomes obsessed with this project. The project is he wants to take a bunch of little cubes and have them turn into one big cube.
He's a man at this point. He's like in his 20s.
29.
29.
Almost 30.
Okay.
And he wants to make this cube, and he wants to be able to turn it. He basically wants to make a Rubik's Cube. He doesn't know why, but that's just what he wants to do. So he keeps trying all these different things, trying to put these cubes together with rubber bands and paper clips, and nothing works out. So he's frustrated, and he goes for a walk down the river.
Well, if he's hot, imagine how many girls had to like sit in his room and be like he's like, you can come over. Yeah, I'm just going to be sitting on my floor playing with my little cubes. And she's like, yeah, we could maybe put on some music and like, show me your cubes, whatever. And it's like hour 4 and he's just like tinkering with those little cubes. And she's like, okay, I'm going to go. My friends are going out. I thought never mind. Something was there.
The next morning she opens her front door and there's a shiny quarter laying on the ground. And one long black feather.
He's the hottest crow in town.
This is why the show goes long, Al. I didn't do any of this.
We're good. Keep it up.
So he goes this is like, I feel like now it's like, I don't know what we're doing.
We're back.
Like him, I'm going to take a breath. So he goes for a walk along the river, and he stops, and he's thinking about just everything, the project, the fact that he still lives with his mom. Maybe he should get a girlfriend.
Looking for corn or breadcrumbs.
I don't know why.
Maybe a lone peanut on the floor.
I think Rubik being a crow is so funny. And he's kind of lost in thought, and he's looking down at the ground, and it's like a cobblestone-y ground. And he becomes really focused on the smooth, round rocks of the cobblestone.
Okay.
And his eyes widen, and he's like, that's it. And you're transfixed by my bling string.
It just caught the light, and it nearly blinded me.
Right? It's so beautiful. You weren't even looking me in the eyes. She's just like, I'm like Gollum with this bling string. So he realizes that if he were able to put all these cubes on like a round core, that he made...
The core is round?
You've never opened a Rubik's Cube?
No.
Well, maybe we should
Oh my God, I didn't know what I expected, but wow.
So he has this realization, his heart starts racing, he runs home to put his theory to the test. And he creates this prototype. It's made out of 21 little cubelets attached to a rounded interlocking mechanism, and he holds all that together with paper clips and rubber bands. And it's basically like the 3D cube. You know, they're called 3x3 because there's like 3 going across and 3 going down. It's basically that design, but he makes it out of wood. So it's a lot clunkier. The corners are really sharp, so he saws the corners off. So those are at a diagonal. So it's similar to what you're used to seeing today, but it's, you know, a prototype, and it's a very early version of it.
I can't even imagine how this worked. But wow.
But it does.
It does.
But
it
does.
But it does.
You know how we know it works? Because he gave it a twist, and it did not fall apart.
Wow.
It was the solution he had been looking for, and he says that he got really emotional because he's a nerd, and he's been wanting to do this for a long time. So that's really sweet. So he decides that he wants to be able to like visually track the movements of the cube, and this is a key moment.
Okay.
So he colors each side a different color.
Wow.
So as he turns it, he can see the movements that have been made.
Did he know he was making a puzzle? What did he think he was making?
He thought he was making like a visual aid that he could use in his classroom for his students.
Okay.
That it was going to be like a learning tool.
Okay.
So he puts those colors on, and he makes a turn, and then he makes a twist, and very quickly all the colors start to get mixed up, and he like is giddy. He loves it. He loves the way it looks. And then he decides that he wants to reset it and get it all back to where it was, where every side had its own color, and he could not do it. It would take him the next month to put this back together. So he is finally able to do that, and he's ecstatic, and he runs out of his room to show his mom. She's super happy for him. I joke that she's probably just happy that he's done with it.
Yes,
now he can go do something else, maybe make her a grandmother. But she's really happy for him, and he takes it to his classroom because he's so excited to show his students.
Sure.
He thinks it could be a great learning tool for them for spatial relations and things like that. And the students love it. And he's like just standing there watching them like play with this thing. And it really kind of hits him at that moment that this cube could have greater purpose.
Probably like one student could like get it right away, like the Justin Bieber.
There's always a Justin Bieber in your class that you're like sitting behind. You're like, God, I wonder if I looked different, like they could like me.
I bet if I had a month to work on a Rubik's Cube, I could get it too. So I'm as smart as Rubik.
1,000,000%. You still would not be able to get a side. So he takes it to the Hungarian Patent Office and submits an application for what he calls a 3-dimensional logical toy. And then he gets that patent, and he works with a manufacturer of chess sets and plastic toys, and they make 5,000 units of it. And in 1977, exactly 20 years before Titanic,
Good year.
he releases what he's calling it the Magic Cube. So then in 1977, he's able to release what he's calling the Magic Cube into Hungarian toy shops.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, so it's like a really exciting moment for him. They sell pretty well, and then he gets, you know, what everybody gets is the desire to go bigger. He really thinks that he could take this thing globally. Now, the only problem is Hungary was locked behind the Iron Curtain. We don't have to go into that. I don't feel like either. That's really...
That might be a different podcast.
That's a different podcast. But basically, importing and exporting things are tightly controlled.
Sure.
So it basically just means that doing imports and exports there are really challenging. It's not something that just the everyman can do. So for the time being, he kind of has to be happy with selling them where he lives. Now, if this was a movie, this is when the screen would go black, the words 1 year later would pop up, and then we would start a new chapter. So for this chapter, let me set the scene for you. Now, remember when I set the scene that I don't always know exactly what happened.
Sure.
But I do feel like I'm an intelligent person. I've pulled enough facts to kind of feel confident
Yeah.
in this is how this played out. It's a beautiful sunny day outside of Budapest. Tior Laxi, a Hungarian businessman who has been living in Austria, strolls by a cafe when he sees an unusual object sitting on the table. He picks it up and stares at it cautiously. "What is this?" he mumbles to himself. "Oh, you don't want to mess with that." Startled, he looks up and sees a disheveled waiter wiping down a table. Trust me. That thing's gonna drive you mad, man. Just put it down. "What is it?" "You gotta make every side the same color." Well, that sounds easy enough, Tior says as he gives it a twist. Yeah. It's easy. It's easy. Tior continues to twist and turn and quickly solves one side of the cube. He's hooked. "Hey, do you guys sell these?" he asks the waiter. No, that one's mine, but you know what? You go ahead and take it for $1. Tior gladly pays the $1 and walks away, still playing with the toy. He decides he has to meet the man behind the cube. So he seeks out Rubik. He finds his apartment, knocks on the door. Rubik answers, and Tior is completely underwhelmed. Rubik looks more like a beggar than a businessman. He's terribly dressed and has a cheap cigarette dangling from his mouth. But Tior knew Rubik was a genius. "Ernö Rubik, my name is Tior Laxi, and I think I can sell 1 million of these and make you a very rich man." Rubik looks a little confused, but a lot intrigued. "Well, okay then." And that's the beginning of the relationship of Rubik and Laxi. Now, Laxi starts shopping the cube around at international toy fairs, finds himself setting up like little humble tables, and the fairs are usually pretty big. You've got all the big players there. You've got Mattel. You've got Hasbro. You've got everybody there. And he's like a little guy with a table trying to sell a cube to people. Nobody knows what this thing is. And then he sets up his table at a toy fair in Nuremberg, Germany. Now, there's one thing different about this toy fair that's going to be very important. And that is a man who has decided to go to this toy fair.
Wow, the stars really had to align for this thing to happen.
Babe, you have no idea.
Imagine how many things we haven't gotten because the stars didn't perfectly align. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I look at my life all the time and think, if only... If
a few things had just fallen into place.
If just one thing had been different. All my sliding door versions are better than what I'm living.
You're all Gwyneth Paltrow if she didn't know that her husband was cheating on her?
Yes.
I see.
Yes. So the man I want to introduce you to now is Tom Kremer. Who is Tom Kremer? He's born in 1930 in Transylvania, Romania.
Count Chocula.
He is Count Chocula. As a teenager, he's imprisoned in a concentration camp.
Oh my God.
He's freed upon the liberation in April of 1945 and then fights for Israel's independence until it's gained in 1948.
Oh my God.
Then he becomes a game designer in England.
Wow.
And that's who Tom Kremer is.
Amazing.
So it's 1979, and Tom is walking through the show, and he sees the Magic Cube table. It's not causing a big stir or anything. There's not people all around it. What's this? Gotta have it. But he thinks it looks interesting.
I want to see your cube.
You're so stupid. God, now that's all I'm going to be able to picture at this meeting. For every meeting Tom's in.
It's a crow and a vampire.
I want a 40% royalty. So he sees the cube, and like Tior, he's intrigued by it. He picks it up and starts playing with it, and he's just never seen anything like it. And he sees something new and different, and more importantly, something very sellable. Now, he joins forces with Tior, and the great thing about Tom is he's been in this game designing world for so long, he knows people in that world, which I think Tior kind of didn't have. Like, he had the vision to see that it could be successful, but he didn't really have like toy company connections. So Tom sets up a meeting with the Ideal Toy Corporation. Are you familiar with them?
No.
So Ideal Toy Corporation was one of the big players back in the day. They're famous for inventing the teddy bear.
Oh, I know those.
So... yeah, in 1903, they're from Brooklyn, New York. Morris and Rose mitched them. Rose would make bears for her children.
Aww.
And she ended up sending one to President Teddy Roosevelt as a gift and asking...
That's why they're called a teddy bear.
If they could use his name for the bear. He loved it.
Wow.
He adopted the bear. He had it on his campaign and displayed it in the White House. The rest is history.
That's huge.
So 76 years later, these inventors of the teddy bear are in what has been called a 5-day, very intense negotiation for this cube.
Wow.
They won it. They come out of the meeting and they order 1 million magic cubes.
They're called magic cubes still. But not for long, sister.
Until right now. The first order of business, change the name.
Yes, feels like now it's time for a rebrand.
Yeah, so their worry is just having the word magic in it is going to conjure up images of witchcraft.
Oh, yes. I do think that way when I when I see the word magic.
It was 1980, so witchery was on everyone's mind.
Absolutely.
But they're like, you know what? Let's just call it after the inventor. So they call it Rubik's Cube. And they actually invite Rubik himself to come to the big toy fair in New York City. And he's not a very charismatic salesman. He's kind of shy and quiet. I know, Al, everyone must hate that I laugh in silence, but sometimes if it's just quiet for a minute, it's because I'm laughing.
Assume that every time that Jon is quiet, he's laughing uproariously at what silly things I have said.
So people are coming up to the table and they're like, how do you solve this thing? Everyone looks up to the rafters where Rubik is sitting.
He poops on someone's head.
A giant crow poop. But no, they bring him because they wanted to be able to prove that this thing could be solved. He had gotten his time down a lot. He's still not a speed cuber. He said that it still takes him about Justin Bieber time, about 2 minutes to solve the cube. We'll get into later like where we're at with the speed of solving this cube. But yeah, he's good at it, but he's not a speed cuber. And you have to kind of remember, this is the 70s. So some of the popular toys at the time are like Barbie and G.I. Joe, Stretch Armstrong, Spirograph. One of my... Ooh, you seem to like...
No, I love a Spirograph.
Okay, see, me?
Yeah?
I always thought they were stupid. Like, what do you do? You're just making like this, like... What do you do with it when you're done?
You throw it away. You know which one gets you?
What?
So the circle is fun. The football, things start to get a little tricky. If it hitches at all, if those teeth don't line up perfectly and it like skips or stutters a bit, Al is shaking his head. He knows exactly what I mean. Instant child rage.
I feel like anytime I ever got one, it just went in the closet.
Yeah.
I found it's almost to me like coloring books, like where they're saying you color this thing, stay in the lines. This is like you have no creativity, stick a pencil in a hole and just go around in a circle for 15 minutes and you'll have an ugly wreath.
You cannot be contained. Your creativity.
Yeah, I don't want to be contained.
Yeah,
but
we all
anyway,
agree.
these are the toys of the time. They're not toys that really require a lot of thought or patience. And Rubik's Cube is the exact opposite of that.
Oh my God.
It needs like all the patience and all the time. And Ideal even used the first commercial to kind of play on consumers' intelligence by questioning whether Sir Isaac Newton himself could even solve this puzzle.
Well, that's fun.
Sure, Sir Isaac Newton unraveled the mysteries of gravity, but could he have unraveled the mysteries of Rubik's Cube? 3 weeks ago, Judge Smith retired to her chambers with Exhibit A, Rubik's Cube. She hasn't been seen since. Warning, once you get your hands on Rubik's Cube, you may never be able to put it down. Rubik's Cube. Over 3 billion combinations, but just one solution from Ideal.
So they're kind of playing to like a smarty tardy crowd
Definitely.
here. And telling you, like, they're like, you're going to get addicted. Like, we're going to give you the drug and you're going to be addicted.
That's fine.
Yeah. So that was like a fun tactic.
You know what a good commercial would have been? Is like a wife in bed and she's trying to like have a little romance with her husband and she's like, honey, put that darn thing down. And he's like, I almost got the purple. And then she's like, there's no purple. You know what I mean? It's like she's trying to get her husband to give her a little attention, but he can't get his dang hands off of that cube.
That would have been a good commercial.
That would have been a good commercial.
Shot exactly like that. Like that.
Verbatim.
That was the script.
You and me in another lifetime would have been just ad men on Madison Avenue.
Oh my God, Mad Men. That would have been so fun. So like I said earlier, it's kind of hard for you to imagine how big this toy was. But like one of the things that I think made it so big was that it was literally for everybody. It's like for men, it's for women, it's ageless, for kids, for adults.
It's for smarts and for dumbs because we liked it even though we couldn't solve it.
100%.
Yeah.
It is literally for everybody. So when I say it's an instant hit, within 3 years, they had already sold over 100 million of these cubes.
Wow.
Ernö became Hungary's first self-made millionaire. And, you know, he doesn't like a lot of attention. He's a quirky guy, but he writes, the cube loves attention. And when I say he's quirky, he does talk about the cube like it's a person. He talks about it like it's his child, because in other things, he's like, the cube is middle-aged now. But he says, the cube loves attention. I don't.
Oh.
It is eager to interact with everyone. I sometimes find this a bit difficult.
Oh.
It's quite ambitious. I am less so.
It's like a ventriloquist who hides behind his puppet.
Oh my God,
The
yes.
puppet can say what the puppeteer can't.
It's a crow hiding behind his coin.
I'm glad they didn't call it Ernö's Cube, by the way. I feel like that maybe didn't have the same ring to it.
You know what would be fun? A nice collab, though?
What?
Tickle Me Ernö. It's just like a giggly crow. Every time he giggles too much, he drops an egg.
Yeah, people are like slaughtering each other on Black Friday to get a Tickle Me Ernö.
So it wins the German Game of the Year award, which is very prestigious. It wins similar awards in France and Britain and the United States. And another huge part of this story, which you may remember, are the books. Like, there were Rubik Cube books everywhere because everyone was so desperate to solve this thing. And one of the first, if not the first book, was written by Patrick Bossert, a 12-year-old boy.
Oh my God.
So he figures out how to solve the cube, and he writes this book called You Can Do the Cube. So 80s. I can picture the cover, and I didn't even look it up.
For sure.
He writes that in 1981, and he basically just writes it for his friends and family, though. And it's like when I was young, I had a fake newspaper with my friends in the neighborhood, and we would write stories and pass it around. That's what I'm picturing it, like a zine.
Yeah.
So he gives this to his friends. Well, one of his friends' dads, an editor at Penguin Books.
Oh my God.
He takes this little zine in, and he's like, you guys, I got it.
Was everything just easier in the past?
Everything's just easier for everyone. This is my sliding doors moment.
Yeah.
We should write a zine on how to make a podcast and hope Alistair's dad works in publishing. So, long story short, they sell 750,000
of these
12-year-old boys' books.
Oh my God.
So it's pretty exciting. It's so popular that at one point on the New York Times paperback bestseller list, 3 of the top 5 books are about solving the Rubik's Cube.
Wow.
I mean,
this is so pre-internet, though, because it's like if you wanted to know how to do something, you had to get it from a book.
Right.
If you wanted to know how to, like, cook an egg, it's like, well, buy a book. 30 ways to cook an egg.
Yeah. One of my favorite things, if you are ever bored, Google, like, Nintendo helpline.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, kids used to, like, call, I'm sure you had to pay for it, but you would call a number, and there's video now of the people that answer the phone, and they're like, I'm on level 14, and I can't get past the screaming tree.
And it's like a nice 80s lady at a computer, and she's like, okay, do you have the silver sword and the crown? And they're like, no, I haven't got it. She's like, yeah, it's so cute. It's so like
cute.
It just reminds you about how everything was better.
Everything was better. I saw one of those same things where the person called, they were at the end, and she's like, oh man, she's like, I wish I could help you, but you're at the end. So like, I can't give you the answer to the final battle, but you're there, man. You got to just keep trying. It's so sweet.
Oh.
All right. So then another thing that starts happening very early on are cube competitions. So in 1982, the first Rubik's Cube World Championship was held in the capital of Hungary. There were 20 competitors, and the kid, it was an American teenager actually, that won, solved the cube in 22.95 seconds. That seems fast. And in 1982,
Insane.
that was fast. By today's standards, that's like us doing it.
Wow.
Like, it's so slow,
Wow.
but we'll get there. Now, this is probably my favorite part of the Rubik's Cube story that I didn't know. I think I might have known, but I did not remember.
Okay.
1983.
Great year.
Rubik, The Amazing Cube animated series.
I definitely don't know about this.
Because in the 80s, if anything was popular, they had to make a cartoon for it.
Yes.
It was a 12 or 13 episode series. They are all on YouTube. I watched episode 1. I couldn't get through the whole thing. I watched half of it. I have got to walk you through this because it is pure insanity. So you would think, okay, you're pitching a Rubik's Cube cartoon. You're like, okay, so obviously our branding here is puzzling. So it should be somehow they're like, have to solve puzzles, do this thing. This is straight up Scooby-Doo. And Rubik's Cube is a Rubik's Cube with a head that looks kind of like Yoda, but without long ears and 2 little legs and
Wait,
feet.
the Rubik's Cube isn't like the face on the Rubik's Cube? The Rubik's Cube is the body?
It is like a Rubik's Cube with a green head coming out of it and legs. The only way he's able to show his head and legs is if he's solved. So in every... In every episode, these kids, like he gets jostled very easily. Like he's in the back of a truck, he falls on the ground, jostled, he's no longer there. You got to jump back there, solve him really quick, and then he pops out.
Oh my God.
Now, what is Rubik able to do? Anything the writers think of.
Okay.
He's magical. He can fly. He can float through walls. He can pick things up, what's the word? Telepathically.
Telekinesis?
He can do yes, he can do anything. Anything they think of, they just type it,
Perfect.
Rubik does it. It's absolutely insane. And the funny thing is, I joked when I said it reminded me of Scooby-Doo. I was sitting there watching, it's like, this is Scooby-Doo. They literally got lured into a scary house and were trying to solve something. The minute I saw that, the bad guy said the phrase, these meddling kids.
Just a straight ripoff.
Episode 1 is Scooby-Doo. The other great part, you may not know this, maybe you do. The theme song was sung by Menudo, because who else would sing it in the 80s?
What a simpler time. I wonder if anybody has a tattoo of this Rubik's Cube cartoon character. I feel like that almost should be like a recurring thing, is like we look it up and see if there's like anyone has a tattoo for the brand. I'm sure there's Rubik's Cube tattoos. Sure.
It seems like it would be like Funko Pop 860. Like they're like, oh, we're campy. It's only available. We made 200 of them. They're only available at
insane. That's hell.
The Walmart and Cerritos. So yeah. And then that's kind of the peak of the craze. And then it fizzles out.
Cartoon is always the peak of the craze.
Cartoon is jumping the shark.
Yes.
So the cartoon comes out. Then now we're a couple years into this. There's cheaper counterfeits being made. There's just so many cubes and puzzles out there now. The novelty's kind of worn off. Ernö continued to develop other puzzles. Some of the ones I was talking about earlier, the snake, he invented one called the Tangle. None of them reached the success of the cube, but that didn't really matter to him.
Rubik's Tangle. Yeah, I don't really know about that one.
I looked it up. I was like, it was like didn't even want to figure out what it was. It looked like it had something to do with a rope. I will say, this was in my fun facts, where the cubes have gone now is kind of fun. I mean, because it's all over the place. Like one of the latest cubes to come out is completely black.
Oh.
You can only tell what the colors are by the heat of your hand. So you have to touch it, and then the color will reveal itself for a minute. And then
it'll go away. Oh, that's fun.
They now have some that have shapes on them. So for people that are visually impaired, they can feel the shapes and try to solve it. I mean, they've done so many things with this
He's
brand.
made himself a pretty penny.
He does not talk about how much money he's made off the cube. It's not something that interests
That's a good
him.
idea.
He says, for me, the most enjoyable part is the puzzle, the process of solving, not the solution.
Oh, wow.
He goes on to become the president of the Hungarian Academy of Engineering. And in 1990, he created the International Rubik Foundation to support young engineers and industrial designers. So I love that he goes on to do great stuff. And then that's kind of end of the story, right?
Right? Yeah.
Right?
It
So
seems like the end.
That's the end. So Alistair's like, oh my God, Jon did a show in less than an hour. Well, unfortunately, the internet happened. The 90s came.
Yes.
And the Rubik is back,
It's
bitches.
back. It's slowing up bigger than ever.
Honestly?
Yeah.
Bigger than
Sure.
ever. It's just a different thing because now it's like, it was the craze, the hot fire, the bright fire burns fast, whatever, like all that happened. But now it's like established into pop culture.
Yeah.
And now it's like, how do we sustain that?
Yes.
So the internet comes out, personal websites and chat rooms connect cubers with each other. Of course, I spent a half an hour or 2 hours on the Wayback Machine looking at the very first Speed Cubers website.
Very cute.
And a Yahoo group of cubers. It's very darling. People start to find all these crazy ways to solve the cube. People are solving the cube underwater while they're skydiving, blindfolded. People are doing it with their feet.
Crazy.
I don't know if you've ever seen the people that solve 3 cubes while they're juggling.
I can't even begin to understand. I've seen the guys who will look at it for a second and then put it behind their back and do it.
Yeah.
But they look at it for like, they like flip it around like faster than you could even imagine. They're like retaining any information. It's like they're like cyber boys.
They're Rain Men.
Yeah.
They're all the Rain Man. I mean,
It's
that's how the
crazy.
competitions work now. I watched yesterday on Netflix called The Speed Cubers, and it's about these 2 boys who have kind of been going back and forth over the years, like beating each other's records. And they're such nice boys. Like I was like, ooh, I wonder if this is going to be like King of Kong, because you've got like these 2 titans like going for the same thing. It could not be further from like every time like one would beat someone else's score, they would like write each other like, I'm so proud of you. Like they're such
They're
nice
sweeties.
boys. One of them is like autistic, and the other one is like so there for him. It's so sweet because the one who's autistic is kind of newer on the scene. He's the one that beat the world record last year.
The cubing community is very sweet.
Oh my God. Just watch any cubing competition because they do what you're talking about. They're allowed to look at it for a second and pick it up and kind of figure out what pattern it's in. Then they have to put it down. And then once they pick it up, the timer starts and they solve it. And like they drop it and it stops the timer. When these boys beat like a record, or girls like beat a record, all the nerds around them are so excited. Like everyone's cheering for them. Like it is darling.
That's so sweet.
I'm going to become a speed cuber. Just talk about human spirit. They're like, who's this old queer who like, why is it take, he's been here since 8 and he only has yellow.
Your timer is like zeroed out. It's like can't go any longer.
It's at 9999.
999.
I got a half-eaten chicken Big Mac next to me. A
Sweating.
crow toy. No one knows what that means. Okay, so 1995. Okay, I teased this in the open. Diamond Cutters International set a Guinness World Record. If you haven't listened to our show on Guinness, we talk about that. Be sure to check it out. For the world's most expensive toy. They created a fully functional jeweled Rubik's Master Cube. It took 8,500, they call it people hours. It's made out of 18...
People hours.
I know. What other apples? Crow hours? It took 40,000 crow hours.
Who wrote this? A crow?
It actually just did say call, and I
Okay, there
hit
you go,
Google
yeah.
Translate, and it
Yes.
was like 80.
If you ever get an email, by the way, that signed with caw, that's a crow you've been talking to.
Call. It's made out of 18 karat gold, 25 precious stones per panel, using 185 carats of rubies, emeralds, sapphires, white diamonds. I'll post it in our supplemental material.
Sapphire, our birthstone, if anybody wants to give us a ring.
A ring or sapphire. It goes great with my eyes and my bling string. The current value of that Rubik's Cube is about $3 million.
Wow.
So that comes out, and then, man, we're talking, it's all about speed cubing. It's the spring of 2001, and they're planning on having the first big speed cubing world championship in New York City. Unfortunately, that is set to happen in October 2001. So that is canceled because of 9/11. But over the next 3 years, competitions everywhere. So many that in 2004, they decide that there should be a body of people governing the speed cubing competition community.
Okay.
So that there's official rules for everything. It's all above board. Now today, that organization hosts more than 1,000 speed cubing competitions every single year.
Wow, that is crazy. There are so many people smarter than us.
Oh my God. I mean, for me, not at this table, but like a lot of people. All right. And then there's just a few fun little things I came across doing my research. In 2003, Dan Knights decided that he wanted to solve the cube while jumping out of a plane. So he gets in a plane at 12,000 feet. They figured out that he would have 45 seconds before he would have to pull his parachute to open it. He was able to solve the cube in 32 seconds.
Wow. So this is two things I can't do. Jump out of an airplane or solve a Rubik's Cube.
I mean, I love that these people have these goals. I'm sure you've seen this. I see this. I feel like I used to see this a lot on TikTok. So you're familiar with the Cubist art movement. That's like Picasso.
Yes.
So there was a movement called Rubik's Cubism. That is using Rubik's Cubes to create large mosaics of things.
Cute.
When I first got on TikTok, I would see people, they would have like 5 million Rubik's Cubes and they make a giant Taylor Swift.
Oh my God.
There's a guy who made like Da Vinci's Last Supper using 4,000 cubes. He used 12,000 to make Michelangelo's famous Hand of God. Now I was looking at some more recent ones. They're using like 40,000 cubes to make like these mosaics and stuff. It's bananas.
Where are they getting all these cubes?
It's funny. The guy who did, I think, The Last Supper, it was so expensive at the time, he bought generic ones for $1 because he wasn't getting them free from Rubik. I'm sure
sense.
Rubik now probably, if you're a sustained artist, may give them to you.
If you're interested in making a mural, write to Rubik.
Right to Rubik, care of Jon and Marisa. 2015 is the first time we get a sub-5 solver. Lucas Etter solves the puzzle in 4.9 seconds.
I couldn't even move my hands that fast.
I couldn't. I mean, I know. 2018, first time we get a sub-4. I can't say his name, last name Du, solves the puzzle in 3.47 seconds. Then in 2020, Ernö writes a book called Cubed, telling the story through his eyes. He said he did not want to write a biography. This is his quote. I'll just read it because he's weird. I don't want to write an autobiography because I am not interested in my life or sharing my life. I want to understand what's happened and why it has happened. What really interested me was not the nature of the cube, but the nature of people, the relationship between people and the cube. I mean, this guy, I love him. He's 80 now. He turned 80 this year.
Wow, good for him. He's still alive. That's a long lifespan for a crow. I think they don't usually live that long.
Oh my God, Al, you know what I'm on? Fun facts. That's my last category. Few fun facts. I'm going to do this. I meant to do it before we recorded, but there are websites now where you can literally just click all the squares on a cube to show it what your cube is, the state it is in.
Yeah.
And it'll walk you through solving it.
That would feel good.
I honestly do feel like it would feel good. Just to actually do all the movements.
Yeah, I don't care if it's my hand is being held. I would be nice to feel what it's like to see all the colors.
That's me at the competition. Yeah. Chicken Big Mac in one hand, clicking all my colors in the cube. Just a second, boys. I already told you I watched that documentary. The main kid who is in it, who's autistic, is Max Park. He's become a real hero of the Twisty Cube community. He solves the 3x3s, the 4x4, the 5x5. Some of those they go to 32 by some of them. I don't even freaking understand them. Some of them don't even stay in cube form. You turn it and it pops out and it's I don't know, man. But he just last year in Long Beach beat the world record. So he was able to solve the puzzle in 3.13 seconds, which is just unbelievable.
Wow. That is insane.
Nobody can beat that except the MIT robots. Have you ever seen that footage?
No, I'm not interested in seeing robots do anything.
Half a second.
No.
You gotta watch it.
Nope.
It's like a robot arms. They're holding a Rubik's Cube, and it's done. It is insane.
Ever since like 10 years ago, remember that robot dog that they kept tipping over and he would just like get back up?
Yeah.
I don't do robots anymore.
That's my robot.
One that you just tip over and it gets back
mine just
up?
falls over. You guys, that's the show.
Oh my God, John.
That's everything. I was going to talk about some of the other cubes, but I think we've kind of talked about them throughout the show. They did just come out. I did mention this is the 50th anniversary, right?
Yes, you did.
This is the 50th anniversry. They have come out with like a retro cube, which...
Well, that's fun.
The only thing I can tell, they said it's harder to move. It's kind of like the first one that actually came out, because now for like competitions, there's a phrase, if you're going to compete, you got to lube the cube.
Ew, no.
I know. And I was looking
Is there anything worse than a dry cube?
Oh man, I want to become known as the cube luber at these competitions.
It's just you. You're like a ball boy. You're a cube luber. You're like all sporty. You have your little sweatband on. Your bling string.
I like open up my I have like a cargo vest on, and I open it up, and there's just all the different brands of cube lubes.
Cube lube, yeah.
Oh
I mean, I'm assuming there's more than one brand of cube lube.
Well,
you have to have some competition.
The thing I read said Rubik had its own branded cube lube, which of course they did. Click on the page. Not found.
Oh.
Is there anything worse than a not found link? It's like, then I'm like, what happened? Then
It's
I
so
have to
depressing.
research it. Did it not sell well? Why is it not found? Or that 404, whatever that is.
404 page not found.
God damn it. There's nothing worse. Well, there you go, kids. So now that I have told you, and can I just say, I'm not even going to give him a shout out because he doesn't listen to the show, but someone I work with downtown today, he's like, Rubik's Cube. Like, is there even a story there? I was like, yeah. We're going to the Holocaust, babe. There's a story there. So now that you've heard the story, I don't think you've looked at him, but he's cute.
I'm about to look him up. Okay.
Look at the black and white, like 70s ones. Are you looking at him like today?
I saw him.
Just celebrated his 80th. Wait, are you looking at a picture of a crow? You turn your phone around and it's just a large black. Don't say he looks like a...
Look.
He does not
look like
a crow.
Okay, this is him as a man. He looks like a crow.
Okay, he's a little crowy.
He looks more like a crow than most people look like a crow. Al?
The fact that you called him a crow was just arbitrary. It wasn't even to like his looks. It was just that he had coins around his room.
He has crow habits.
All right, so now that you know the story, you know about the cartoon, you know about all the things, is Rubik's Cube on brand for you?
Yeah, he is cute here. Black and white in the 70s, he is cute.
Yeah.
Yes, Rubik's Cube is on brand for me. We always had a Rubik's Cube around growing up. We always had a lot of tabletop puzzle games in my house as I was a kid, which is funny because we were like kind of all of us idiots, like not college educated, but we liked puzzles and I still like puzzles to this day. Talking about this, I feel like I need a Rubik's Cube in my home and maybe I'll check out that retro one because I always favor a throwback.
Yeah, see, you want the retro one. I kind of want the black heat-sensitive one.
Of course, you're high-tech.
So it is. Actually, you telling that reminded me of a story that I had forgotten about that I remembered when I was doing my research, but I didn't put it in my research because I wasn't going to tell it, but I'm just going to share it with it now. When I was young, I feel like I was in like 5th grade. I went to like Kmart, and I would get like, those machines where you put a quarter in and you get like a little bubble in the toy in it.
Yeah.
I got like a mini Rubik's Cube keychain. I did it a couple times, and I ended up with like 2 or 3 of them. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't need all these. I was a different person at that time. This was before I had a storage unit. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do that I think would be really fun? I'm going to hold a raffle and like raffle one of these off to one of my classmates in school. I got to school and I think I had made out like little things to pass out, a whole thing. And I got there and I got so embarrassed for some reason that I had done it. I was like, what am I thinking? Like everyone's going to think I'm a fool. And I didn't do it. And I don't know if I'm happy that I didn't do it or if I'm like disappointed in myself that I didn't do it. But I remember having a lot of feelings that I was kind of sad that that happened.
That's really going out on a limb.
Yeah.
So are Rubik's Cubes on brand for you?
Because of that single moment in my life, that sliding doors moment, I will say I hate Rubik's Cube. No, it's definitely on brand for me. I love it. I love a brand that can exist successfully for 50 years, that's always kind of reinventing themselves. I think they're doing it in a very thoughtful, fun way.
Yeah.
It's built a wonderful community for people that may not have I'm not saying that in a judgmental way, but just may not have as many friends or support groups or nerds. Nerds. Like I was a nerd, but like I think it it has given an amazing community to those
Nerds
people.
finding community is really precious.
It's the most important thing.
It's the most important thing.
More than climate control. I want every nerd to have a partner. So yes.
We might be somewhat nerds community.
I'm 100%. Are you kidding me?
Like the show, I mean, like is like on brand. Like, I mean, you are.
I know some of our listeners. They are definitely nerds.
Okay, great.
So,
Well, shout out
it's
to
not bad
them.
for me. So there you go.
Awesome.
That's Rubik's Cube.
Well, John, what's that sound?
I don't know.
Is it Santa? No. It's the Ice Capades with John, a new segment. John, where did you get ice today?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Do they even know what this is about? Okay, just in a quick. So I tell them yesterday, I'm an ice freak.
Bitch.
I was like, what word will I'll not beep out?
Ice bitch.
I'm an ice bitch. I love ice. I have with me at all times 2 thermosy things, one with ice water, one with iced Diet Coke. Then I have 2 smaller ones. I have a million more in storage. That's not important. But I only have 1 tray of ice that I make in my thing. So when I am out and about in town, I will stop somewhere and fill these up with ice. And I told them that yesterday. And God, I hate that you asked this because I told you this a couple days ago.
Yeah.
And then yesterday I was out. So I will run in. I don't always buy something. So I ran into Jack in the Box. That was a new place I'd not been before for ice. And I ran in, no ice machine.
Oh.
Everyone's getting rid of their self-serve sodas.
I wonder why.
So I leave there, drove past a Burger King, ran in there, no ice machine.
Jesus. John.
Okay, I'm just going to tell you my whole train of thought.
Okay.
So then I remembered that it was Fried Chicken Day, National Fried Chicken Sandwich Day. And so Jack in the Box had a coupon for a free fried chicken sandwich if you spent $2. I went to a different Jack in the Box and they had an ice machine and I got my chicken sandwich and then I filled up all my things with ice. So John's Ice Capades, that's what we're calling this?
Yeah.
That's a good title. I did get ice today, too. Where did I get ice today? I stole it.
From where? We know you steal it.
I'm trying to remember where I stole it from. I went in and I stole it without getting food. Oh, it was Carl's Jr. in Atwater.
Okay.
I had never been in there either.
And they foolishly have their ice machine out.
Foolishly. And I do this whole thing. I walk in looking at my phone, pretending I'm there to pick up a mobile order. And I walk through the dining room. I don't go just past the cashiers.
Yeah.
Around the seats in the dining room. I try to get to the soda machine. Usually it's out of vision of and I fill them up and leave. What's so funny?
Every day.
What's so funny?
Every day.
Not if I'm out. Like I said, I do not make a special trip for these. I make a special stop.
Sometimes more than one.
Don't we have some shout outs? I want to give some shout outs to our Insta Egg winners. This is for our LL Bean Insta Egg. I tried to make a pretty easy one for you guys. It was just a picture of LL Cool J and his big nipples and a big picture.
I mean, that wasn't part of it.
No, I deliberately did not crop out his nipples. I was like, what's going on? And then,
coming from you.
And then
okay, keep going. We're long. Al says we're long.
And then a big bean. Oh, we're not long if Al can laugh at me. Then go as long as you want. So I already won. To save Alistair a little time, I already spun the Wheel of Freaks to figure out who the 5 freaks of the week are this week with that Insta Egg. We had over 100 people solve it correctly. Some people needing a little help, some not. And the shout outs this week go to Michael Roberts, Alex Hill, Chris Clandis, Melissa Bowden, and Audrey Grace. So you were the lucky winners of the wheel. Thank you for playing. There'll be a new Insta Egg every Wednesday.
And I'd like to give some shout outs to some freaks who have left us nice reviews on Apple Podcasts. This means so much to us. It really helps out the show, and it just, lifts our spirits. As you all know, we do this as a hobby.
Did you see someone wrote on their thing, only read this once? Because I was like, I like to lay in bed and just reread them over
and over. So I'd like to give a shout out to Min KT, Super Amy 0717, and Erica Hasenick. And if you haven't left us a review, please do that. Again, John lays in bed, and they lift our spirits and make this feel very fun and worthwhile.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, just DM us on Instagram. I literally answer everybody. I will probably talk to you until you're like, okay. You can just go invisible.
Lonely man.
I love to chat from bed with my ice and my crow and my cube.
If you don't already follow us on TikTok or Instagram, at OnBrandThePod on Instagram, at OnBrandThePodcast on TikTok, you can see videos from the show, supplemental stuff. We'll show you a picture of Rubik. You can weigh in if he's hot or not. And you can chat with us there. We love to hear from you guys. Share your Rubik's Cube thoughts. Are you a speed cuber? Are you part of the Speed Cube community? If not, what nerd community have you found? And yeah, we'll be back next week with an all-new episode.
I love it. And remember, we may go off topic and we may drive Alistair crazy, but we will always be on brand.
Bye.
Bye.